When it comes to survival, your gear is more than just a collection of objects, but your first and last line of defense. Now, it's easy to see why some people get excited over a bargain or a cool-looking gadget, especially when prepping for emergencies or adventures seems so overwhelming and expensive at first. But the truth is, you shouldn't save money on survival gear, and we'll tell you why with a focus on both expert opinion and lessons learned from both the hard way and smart research. Let's begin. The phrase, buy cheap, buy twice, is never more true than in survival situations. As experts say, if you buy something that's good quality, you'll have to replace it far less often than a similar item that wasn't built to the same standards. But it's not just about replacement cost. The real risk of saving money on gear is dangerous failure at the worst possible moment. A malfunctioning emergency water filter isn't merely a headache. We'd say it can make you deathly ill if you ingest bacteria or contaminants you thought you'd filtered out. If your flashlight fizzles out, or your emergency blanket tears in freezing conditions, the consequences can be severe. One theme that comes up again and again, a warning that's repeated multiple times on reviews, forums, and field tests, is the seductive lure of gadgets that promise a lot, deliver little, and cost you in reliability. Think about fold-out shovels that double as multi-tools, hollow-handled knives loaded with cheap survival tchotchkes, or magnesium fire starters that never quite throw a spark. As many veterans in the field say, many cheap survival gadgets are more of a liability than an asset. Instead of relying on gimmicky gear, invest in high-quality, field-tested tools that you can trust in an emergency. When you drop money on knockoff multi-tools or budget knives, you're often paying for a false sense of security. The wire saw snaps, the fire striker barely sparks, the multi-tool's blade won't cut through even the simplest chores. In a real emergency, these tools aren't just dead weight. They're hazards masquerading as help. Experienced preppers and rescue workers always recommend solid, proven designs. A well-made knife with a full tang blade, a genuine fire striker, a reliable water purifier from a known brand. In other words, the basics, not the flash. Most of you guys might be tempted by non-branded, pre-made survival kits advertised online or in big box stores, especially those loaded with dozens of items at a price that seems too good to be true. And most of the time, it is. Many of these kits feature low-quality, unreliable products that simply don't stand up to real conditions. More than one reviewer on prepping subreddits and forums has noticed that after some field time, they end up tossing half of what comes in the kit and replacing the rest with higher quality versions, effectively paying more in the end. If you want to know where to spend and where to save, look at the gear lists of people who spend all their time outdoors. Seasoned hikers, or maybe rescue teams. You'll find the common thread in their choices, which are mostly time-tested brand name essentials. Not the trendiest or flashiest stuff, but the kind with hundreds of collective years of design and field experience baked in. Why? Because out in the wild or during a crisis, you want something that's been proven again and again to work, not a sketchy copy or the cheapest Amazon option. If you'd ask us, we'd recommend you build your own bug-out backpack with well-researched, proper survival tools that will work whenever necessary. Some common tools like a fixed-blade knife, a reliable multi-tool, a strong tarp shelter, a reliable ferro striker, and tinder are must-haves. Heavier tools like hatchets, machetes, or tomahawks will make survival easier but can't be called must-haves. Now, what makes something a quality survival tool? That's a question many ask, be it a beginner or a moderately experienced person. We'd say there are a few aspects to look into. First of these would be durability. High-quality survival gear has to be made from tough, often premium-grade materials that handle repeated abuse. Look for full-grain leather, high-carbon or stainless steel, and military-grade plastics or alloys. Now, do you think they come cheap? Exactly. They don't. then don't you think expecting survival tools to be cheap or even relying on those cheap survival items are complete absurdity? That's where people mess up. They treat survival gear like regular shopping. Pick the coolest looking item or the one with the most flashy features and hope it holds up. But real survival gear isn't designed for looks. It's shaped by harsh weather, broken bones, busted tents, and people who've lived through the stuff we're all preparing for. It's been field tested, not just in some factory, but out there in the cold, rain, and rough terrain. And when you buy from the right brands, you're not just getting a product. We'd say, get some actual specs from reliable brands you can trust, and sometimes even a warranty that shows they stand behind what they make. Try getting any of that from a $10 knockoff. When the blade breaks or your shelter leaks, you'll be on your own, with no backup, no help, and no one to blame but yourself. Another thing, real gear ain't overloaded with bells and whistles. That's a rookie trap. Cheap gear loves stacking and extra gadgets, most of which you'll never use, and every one of them is just another thing that can fail. The good stuff will always be simple, it's focused, it does what it's meant to do, and it does it right every single time. There's also an overlooked but powerful aspect to investing in solid survival gear, and that is your own confidence. You'll stop worrying about whether your knife will snap or your water filter will clog, and you start focusing on making smart choices. That confidence and the peace of mind is also a part of the gear. You just can't buy that for cheap. We live in a world full of marketing, spin, and tactical everything. But don't confuse fancy labeling, camo, or military-style claims with true performance. As one cultural commentator noted, much of the so-called tactical gear flooding the market is just an extension of toxic consumerism, playing on insecurity and the cheesemo, rather than genuine need or real-world testing. The best tool is always the one you know how to use, can trust, and has been proven under duress. Not the flashiest or trendiest piece from a viral video or Instagram post. Buying quality doesn't mean you have to spend the most money, but you should learn about the possibilities and your needs, and always try to buy the best you can afford. For instance, think about water filtration. Do not gamble on budget filters. Waterborne illnesses can be deadly. Go for reliable and expert brands like Sawyer, LifeStraw, or Katadyn. Look for which brand has more expertise in a specific field. Mainstream brands usually come first when you search something because of the money they threw on marketing to make the products look nice. Niche brands, on the other hand, know the problem and will give you a better solution with a far better value just because of their expertise in the field. Then comes the cutting tools. Cheap knives and multi-tools fail when you need them most, so invest in a solid, full-tang, reputable brand knife. Then, the 30-tenths you're thinking of getting will be absolute garbage if they leak or tear in a storm. Aim for recognized brands with real field trials. For medical supplies, we'd say build your own from Quality Basics instead of buying cheap pre-made kits with questionable contents. But even so, if you want to buy it pre-made, go for reliable ones like Surviveware, MyMedic, or North American Rescue. So yeah, good survival gear costs more, but that cost buys you trust. What's your thought? Let us know in the comments section down below. And as for everything else, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you want more content like this on your feed. Stay safe, stay prepared.